Alrighty, folks. Good afternoon. Welcome to Trade Ideas Live support session here, 12 noon Eastern. I see some folks jumping in right away. Anybody has questions right away, don't be shy. Get those questions in for me right away. If not, we'll hang out for a moment here, let people join, and I will do my best to keep things informative and relative to what we got going on with software and the market. So again, let me know if you got questions. Get those in right away. Don't be shy with those, please. All right. I'll give another 30 seconds to see how many others will join us. And we'll get piling through, and now we can go over some different things with scans and what's coming through and what's shaking in the overall market today. So, all right, no questions to kick us off right away, unfortunately, but well, we'll start talking about some stuff, and if anybody has any questions, don't be shy. Feel free to interrupt me at any point. So, well, I've got CAPS up here as a fairly noteworthy stock today, it looks like. Pretty solid move this morning here, we can see. But it was fast and furious and ended quick, and these are the kinds of things that you want to be real careful so you're not holding the bag up here somewhere. When the stock is looking like it's not got a whole lot of interest left in it afterwards. I've been following the results on the Holly, and I'm just wondering, do you have a tabulation of last week's results? No, I don't have we don't have a way to tabulate results. I mean, you can right click and go to history, and you can see, all history or signals out of the money or signals in the money. You go, last week like this. You can look at like what the long-term profit is there, but that's essentially just buying the stock and holding it and never selling it. So that, there's no target on these, right? There's only a stop loss and the alert price. So it's, it's tough. What are the results on something that doesn't have a target or an upside exit, right? Everybody's going to manage that differently, and we don't have a suggested on that. So that's the best I can offer you, is to right click, look at history all, and then go to last week or last 30, 60 days, whatever you want to do, or if you want to look at a specific day. That is what we have to offer in that regard. And keep the questions coming. Do be shy. All right, no other questions coming at the moment. So, all right, what else can we look at here? Well, let's look at some of the stocks coming through my stock race and talk a little bit of charts on those here. QMCO. So, all right, pretty interesting look here. Sorry, let me get those picture charts out for us. All right, so yeah, QMCO here, a bit of a gap up. And it got real wild on us at the beginning here, at least, in terms of these topping and bottoming shadows, and shooting right up and shooting right back down. I mean, we went from around a 1580 open, give or take, all the way up to 1775 or so, right back down below the open. Before getting several candles that bounces all the way up to almost $19 like that. So tough trader. Obviously, big move for $15 plus stock to move to this point, $3.78. So I suspect this will stay in play for the rest of the day here. You never really know, but it's held itself up well. It got rejected off the 19, came back down, tagged the VWAP, bounced back off that 19 level, didn't come back down all the way again. and then bounced up over that 19 level. And so, it's making higher highs, higher lows, trending overall higher, albeit a sloppy trend. So, I see questions. Sorry. I'm new. Wanted to find out what changed with the trade strategies window. I'm trying to learn how to simply initiate a Holly trade, neither long nor short. So, what you want here is the strategy trades window. All right. Just in case for anybody and everybody new, premium AI strategy trades window. I assume we're looking at Holly when you say that. So that's where my brain went. So make sure you open that and you're going to get something that looks just like this window here. Then I'm going to draw a big pink X across. You get something that looks just like this window here. Your defaults, your columns will likely look different than mine. I've got mine set up for the information that I want to see. You can find those columns by right clicking, go to columns. The master bank is on the right. What we view is on the left. And so if we've got something we want to view, but it's not there, we can click on the right and send it with the arrow back over to the left. Vice versa, if we have something over here that we don't care to see, click on it on the left and send it back to the right to get rid of it. And then you simply press OK and it will save those settings like that. Outside of that, the general short and skinny, I think the things that people want to know the most is, is it a long or short trade that comes through, the entry time on it, the symbol, the entry price, what is the current price. I think these are relative for me. Change from entry, both dollar and percent. I want to know the stop. And max profit is just, the entry price to the max price of the day so far. So those are the things that I'm most interested in. Holly has its own set of strategies that's backtested and optimized overnight. And then any stock that meets those strategies that were deployed on the day gets alerted in real time when it meets those strategies. And that's that alert time and alert price. They happen at the exact same moment, the alert time and alert price. And that's how that works. And then from there, we decide, does this alert meet what I'm looking to do today? For myself, I have a very specific trading strategy. I got a lot of, I've got not a lot, but I have some very specific criteria that, I'm looking at before I jump into a trade. Generally speaking, I don't like the lowest low of floats. I want to see something that's traded at least, let's say 500, 600,000 shares by like 9:40, 9:45 in the morning, stuff like that. That's important to me. As far as initiating the trade, that's, again, up to you. Once you see the alerts that are coming through, you go to your broker and decide, do I want to trade it? Do I not want to trade it? How do I want to manage that? So those are the ins and outs there on the basics of Holly. And then if you have any other specific questions on it, please do not hesitate to get those in for me. I will note this too as well. I suppose important to note, we have the premium strategy window here. It's not a window I utilize much myself. I don't find it necessary, but other people want to see these things. And so they are there. And let's talk about it. In here, the same kind of concept. Got a bunch of columns that we can move in and out. Again, the left is the selected side, right is the master bank, and we go left and right, the arrows. Here, the way I've got it by default set up here is, profit factor of those strategies back tested, the win percent, the actual strategy, and it's the long short side. And then, it tells you how many trades each one has gotten to this point in the day and the profit and so on and so forth. Something I like to note is this. There are these two segments. It used to be it used to be one segment, then it was three segments. Now it's two. So it became Holly 2.0, and Holly Neo. Holly 2.0 no longer exists on its own. It was combined into Holly to just lessen the different places people are looking and trying to understand things. The Holly Neo strategies are just four of them, and they have a very high overall historical rate, and so they come every day, no matter what. And then the other ones are the ones that back test and optimize the best on the Holly Grail strategies are the ones that are deployed after that. So that's why you may see something like this here, where you see this profit factor 1% on the breakout long. Overall, on a historical basis, this is done very well. Uh, Recently, it doesn't do so well, and the back test and optimization of last night doesn't do so well because we're not in a breakout long market right now, right? We get a lot of days like today. Look, we made a big move up in the first 15 minutes in the market, and we kind of just grinded lower since then. So, just to shed some information and context on some of these things. All right. Sorry, I may have missed this part one more time. I thought the premium strategy is where I start trades. I'm literally just trying to figure out where to start the AI trades. I'm guessing by start the trades, you mean have it just trade for you. And that's not a feature of Holly. It's not a feature we advertise or offer regarding Holly. Holly makes real-time alerts with the suggested stop loss, and from there you decide if and how you want to trade them in your broker. And of course, anybody else, don't be shy, folks. Anybody with questions at all, get those questions in for me. I will get to everybody's questions. And, so don't feel like, oh, well, he's answering one person's question, so I'll wait. Just get them all into the chat, and I'll go in order that they come in, and you can always circle back on things, right? Just don't be shy. That's all. Want to make sure that everybody's asking the questions that they need answered. I cannot answer the questions that are not asked. So, all right. Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you. Like I said, just keep the questions rolling, folks. That's what I'm here for. My goal here is to, make sure, given the functions of the software, you're getting out of it what you need, right? It doesn't do us very well as a company to have users struggling with the software itself. Trading, another story. Took me a long time to get any kind of feet under me for trading, and so anybody that's been around long enough, they understand the importance of risk management and testing systems and so on and so forth. When I say testing systems, a system in the sense of, I enter a trade based on XYZ. My stop is ABC, and the way I manage to the upside is, JFK type of thing. That's what I mean by testing a system. So again, folks, don't be shy. Get those questions in. I guess if nobody has any questions, I'll circle back into looking at some of the stuff coming from my scan here, the relative strength in the open. So, all right, let's look at the last winner here because it's also in second place right now. So SKBL. So that's a pretty interesting one, but tough, right? Because a ton of shares traded on it by noon. I mean, it's not a liquid, but it's also not the most liquid. We get this initial real big move here, and then fairly good size topping shadow, another really large shopping shadow, and look at these topping and bottoming shadows just chopping and grinding sideways. So not an ideal trader for many, I'd have to say. Can't ignore the fact that it's up $1.81 today as started off as a $10 and change, or almost $11 stock. So let's see. Thank you. Okay, what is the best way to use Holly on a specific stock? I am trying to understand whether identified. No, it only alerts. You can't feed Holly or ask it to do anything. You open Holly, you set the columns that you want to see the data, and then you wait for the alerts to come in, and that's it. Holly alerts the stocks that meet her specific criteria for the scans only. There's nothing else you need to do besides open Holly and essentially watch for the most part. And then you decide from there if something does or does not fit into what you were trying to do trading. Like you wouldn't feed Holly Apple and say, Holly, tell me about Apple. It's not how Holly works. I have trouble with is that. So Holly just makes an alert. It makes an alert price and time. They happen at the same time. Alert time and alert price. It happens in real time, saying, "Bang, this stock met my criteria at this time and this price. That's what time I'm giving a signal at." And then from there, Holly offers a suggested stop here, right? And that's it. You then decide what you want to do with that stock. Do I want to enter? Do I want to wait? If I enter, what do I want to, how do I want to manage it to the upside? That's entirely up to you. Holly makes this price here, gives a signal at this price, but that doesn't mean just go buy it at that price. You want to, like any alert, like any idea generation, you want to look at it and then make a decision on, okay, it's moved up a lot, before the alert was called. Maybe I'm going to wait to see if it consolidates. Some people want to just grab things on a complete breakout like that. That's up to each individual. And then how you want to manage it if it moves up. That's something you have to decide as a trader. Yeah, cloud function. So if you want just to do an individual window, right click the window, go to save or share the cloud, press save and share. And you're going to copy that URL and email it to yourself or put it in a doc that you can open it. And then, you go to that other machine and use this link. You copy it, you copy that link, and then you would go to file on the menu bar, load from cloud, and it should auto paste into here. In the event it doesn't, unlikely, but you just simply paste it in yourself and you press load, bang, you get the window. And if you want to do an entire layout, you'd instead do it like this. Bear with me 1 second. To do an entire layout, we would file, save or share to cloud. I'm going to click entire layout, name the layout here, press save and share again, and then same thing with the URL that you'll get. You got it. And keep the questions coming, folks. I much, much prefer it when you're all asking questions here, driving the content instead of me just kind of randomly talking. But with that said, take a look at, excuse me, some things coming through the races again. Yes, how do I open this relative strength window? Oh, I can give you a cloud link to that. I'm sorry. I misunderstood before. My apologies. All you can see. Bear with me. So I'm going to give you a link to that scan. Copy and paste. And I do that from time to time. I blend things together when I'm reading. So if it ever looks like I missed something, don't be afraid. Chime right in and say, "Hey, could you take a look back up the line and the questions again?" I've never purposely skipped something like that. So yeah, that's a link to that scan. So if you go ahead and click that link, or you don't even have to necessarily click the link, you can just copy it and paste it. Again, you'll take the copy of it and you'll go load from cloud, and it should load right in here. Like I said, and you'll just press load in the event it doesn't. You just go ahead and right click and put that right in like that. We'll get you the scan. So, all right, MGRM has been the leader on today. So we're seeing a lot of stocks that look like this, right? Making some reasonable moves here percent wise. I mean, the thing's up 60% on the day here. But we're not seeing trend. And what do I mean by not really seeing much trend? We're up, we're down, we're up, we're up, we're chopping. Finally, we're up a little bit of a trend there, but then we give it right back, and then we even pin below the VWAP there too. So it's not clean trading right now as we're in correction territory on the overall markets. Let's look at the GLND. Did we look at that yet? No, we didn't. So I'm guessing this had a halt in here, I would guess, halted up. And I mean, this is just messy. And these are the things that people get, I considered myself, when I was trying to trade a lot of stuff like this, I feel like I got suckered into them. You see this thing makes this big move and it's so strong and all this volume, and then it opens up and it's moving, right? And it comes back down. It's like, yes, it's coming back up again. Well, it went down. Yes, it's coming back up again. It like suckers people into these levels instead of, see if you can get a consolidation that looks something more like that. So these big shadows above and below, and give yourself a, less risky entry kind of thing. So that's the kind of stuff I'd be looking for here. I'm just not crazy about some of these charts today, but it's indicative of the environment we're currently in. It's been going down sideways the past 2 weeks. I'm trying to see how trade ideas can best navigate these sideways trading days. They're tough. It's as simple as that, and that's why a lot of people that make it long term as far as day traders, they have to be able to put on their short hats eventually. They can't just sit there and trade to the long side only. And you got to putting on my short hat here, and all of a sudden I see we can't get through. This looks like a short opportunity here, and it turned out to be a pretty good one, right? So, those are the kinds of things that we have to consider for ourselves. Now, personally, I am mostly a long trader, not that I've never shorted or never short, but I don't do much day trading these days. In fact, I almost do no day trading at all anymore, mostly on the swing trading side of these things. But I think part of, learning how to do anything with the software or any software, just kind of doing it, right? It's about saying, all right, I want to make an alert window and find stocks that are, breaking out on the day, for example, or continue to break out. And so we could go new and alert window, and we've got a configure here. And, it'll come with some defaults in there. You can always get rid of those defaults in here. I've set my defaults up to just kind of come blankish like this. We come in and we say, all right, if I'm trying to find stocks that are maybe making a move right now, we got to go through and we got to understand some of these things in here. So, for example, any of these alerts here that are green, those are bullish alerts. And then any of these alerts that are red, those are bearish alerts. And we also have neutral, which is indicated by a blue color, right? Here we go. Blue ones in here. Those indicate neutral, right? Because the consolidation is neither bearish nor bullish. High relative volume is neither bearish nor bullish, so on and so forth with all these here. And you don't have to know everything about all these, especially, a lot of stuff like, positive market divergence or negative market divergence, stuff like that. You don't got to know all those things like that. But, we want to look through, and we could click on any one of these. We could press the help button after we click on it. We'll get a nice page like this that gives us some definition, examples, and thoughts. And, I've been doing this long enough that I know a lot of these data points that I just come right here and build, but it wasn't like that. I was, years before I came to work for Trade Ideas, I was just a Trade Ideas subscriber, and so going through these different items and figuring out, along with who I am as a trader, what do these data points mean and how can I leverage them for myself? So, fast forwarding that I know some of these things. When I'm looking at bullish alerts, I'm looking at things like the new highs here. I'm looking at things like our running up family in here. All right. I'm looking at things like, channel breakouts or 10-minute consolidation breakout or any of these other breakouts or crossed above resistance, so on and so forth. I've dabbled in the past on 5, 10, 15, 30, 60-minute high alerts, things like that. A lot of these other ones I haven't used much of. I mean, I'm familiar with them, but haven't haven't found cause for them in my own personal scanning and trading. So I wouldn't say, tracking momentum. I wouldn't say there's any quote one way, but I will say there are popular ways. And I think one of the more popular ones here, one of the more popular sets is the new high alert. So I can go ahead and click on that and I press add alert. That brings me to this tab, the alert, select the alerts tab. I'm going to check in there and I can get rid of what was there. And also, I'm one of those people that I think when you're early on in building alert windows, and you're just trying to figure stuff out, maybe add, 2 or 3 alerts at first so that you can get more data to come into the window at first. And then you can see what you like and don't like and work around ways to get rid of as much of the stuff you don't like as possible while still keeping the stuff you do like. It starts to become a balance and a trade-off on these things like that. I'm going to go over that a little bit as we go forward here. We're just going to build something out together, and I'll go ahead and share it with you all. So we're trying to build something, momentum-ish. I've got that new high put in there, and I mentioned before the running up family of alerts. So maybe that running up, throw that in here too. And someone would say, well, why would you have both of those alerts? And my explanation would be this. Let's just say for a second that you got a stock. All right. Let me see if I can find an example. That's just going to pull this off the screen real fast. Bear with me. Just want to find something that's going to fit the example I want here. I'm sure I can find something. Now this one's close. Wow. Now I'm finding some nicer breakout looks here. All right. So this might work for an example. All right. So we got a stock and it's made a move up, right? And there's a high. Now it's pulled back, starts to make a move up and some volume comes in. And I may want to see it here before it makes that new high, not necessarily because I want to get in here, but I want to be prepared in case it makes that high here and get alerted. And so that's why I'd add something like the running up, because it doesn't need to be making a new high. It just has to meet that running up criteria. And so that's something that I would consider when I'm building any kind of momentum scan like that. Having a new high is good, but sometimes something's pulled well off the prior day's high, and it could really dip down and then make a real fast reversal on us at some point. It could be down for a while and way below, and then it starts to make that move up afterwards. And so I want to get alerted for that like that. All right, so let's see, what did I do with that window that I was just working on? Where did we go? There it is. All right, so we did that. We've got those 2 alerts that are in here. We're going to keep those just like that. And then, maybe we want a price range. Take that. We add that filter. We come to window specific filters. I don't know. Let's just say we wanted a $2 floor on it. We won't put a cap on it to the maximum side for now. We got some volume that we want to be looking at. Here's all the volume things, and we could go with volume today in shares. We can add that filter and say, I don't want to see anything unless it's traded 500,000 shares on the day. And if you ever have a question what adding a value to a filter does, this magnifying glass in the middle of it called the show me function. If you click on that, you'll see volume today and shares is the unit. And then it says show me stocks where the volume today is at least 500,000. Now I can update it here real time, by the way. And I could add, let's say I don't want to see something that trade more than 90 million shares on a day. So now it's between 590 million shares, and I press OK. You can see it transfers into the scan there. I'm not going to leave that in, but I just want to show that as an example there. So sure I'm not. If you're getting a please wait message, it means that you probably logged into the web app, disconnecting you from the download app here. So if you come back to the menu bar, all right, go to account, go to reset connection. I always say do it twice, and that will bring you back in. So close that waiting window and then do just that, and then you should be able to get the loading of what you were looking for. All right, so let's continue to knock this scan out here. So we've got ourselves a price floor, a volume floor, maybe one a little more volume metrics in here. If I could type, that would be good. Now, some other things with volume that I like to point out, and these are neither good nor bad things. They just are, right? So our relative volume filter, it's a 30-day look back on a ratio where 1 is normal, 2 is 2 times, 3 is 3 times, so on and so forth. And so, you can have a stock that maybe it starts off the day sleepy, right? It's not doing anything special or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, midday, something happens that, sends the price go flying, whatever it happens to be, right? If you've got a high relative volume filter in there, you may not get alerted on that. On the flip side, though, with a high relative volume filter, you'll also keep off a lot of stuff that you may not be interested in as well. So you always want to consider, that give and take with these things, and that, don't just randomly add filters to every scan. So for example, not every scenario requires a relative volume filter, but there are plenty that do require it to keep off some of the things you don't want on there. Same kind of thing we can kind of apply to this intraday volume of 1, 5, 10, 15, and 30-minute volumes here. These work on a 10-day percent versus the 30-day ratio, and it's doing it over those periods. So 100's one time, there's normal, 200's 2 times, 300's 3 times, 400's 4 times, so on and so forth on that, meaning for that current rolling period, comparing it back to those current rolling periods from the last 10 days. And so, 2 schools of thoughts that we can go with here on a scan like this is we can either say, I only want to see stuff that's kicking with high relative volume, or I want to see stuff that's only kicking with some shorter term volume intraday here. We could always do both too, right? In this, I would say that, for fun's sake here, I would say fun's sake, but for educational sake, we're going to go just the 1-minute volume filter. We're going to add that. All right. And we're going to put that in. We're going to put a 500 here. All right. Meaning stocks will be doing 5 times what they're normally doing over the course of a minute for the last 10 days for us to get an alert on that here. Now, let's circle back in here. We've taken care of alerts for now for this exercise. And let's scroll on down into the overall filters. We talked about price, but let's just take a gander at just different filters and walk ourselves through kind of mentally on what these different things. Do we want to look at stocks that they're real volatile right now? Some people want to see stuff that's kind of jumping all over the place because they feel comfortable with that kind of thing. But we could add the filter also to tamper it down if we don't want no volatility. We don't have to take one of those filters in, but I just want to walk through some of these different filters and give thoughts and ideas on them to, get you flowing on it and get you familiar with some of these items. We talk about ranges here that, we can look for stocks that have larger or smaller ranges over these different periods of time. Some people don't want to see stocks that are, just too wild and looking all over the place. Some people, again, it's another way to look at volatility. They want those volatile stocks, right? We can do it on longer term time frames through here. Some people may want to know that their stock is trading in the options market. And so we have these options filters based on different volume of options and contracts, percents, puts, call ratio, things of that nature. And so that's a way that we could ensure that the stocks that come through our scan are optionable stocks. Gaps. Some people are going to want to see stocks that gapped up or down. I always try to caution or remember, a gap is the change in price from the prior day's close to the current day's open. It's not just the overall change, right, in the stock. It's just that little bit there that I talked about, that change from, like for example, in here, let me close this real fast. So ARQQ gapped up, right? This is the gap here, right? The gap isn't the change from here to here. That's change from close. The gap is this to this. So it's something that people get hung up on a little bit sometimes. And so I always like to point that out. Let's get back down into it. Consecutive candles. This is a tricky filter. It's loved and it's hated. The reason being is this. This is not about green or red candles. This is up or down. So something could be a red candle and be up. Something could be a green candle and be down. So it's very important to understand that. You also have to have highs of current candle, taking out highs of lower prior candle, same with the lows on it, and then the reverse side if you were looking for down candles too. So all those kinds of things like that. Important to note those. We may be looking for something not only with a volume spike, but a spike over the last minute or 5 minutes or 2 minutes, right? And so I think, let's, in this scan, let's add this 2-minute change. Let's try to find stocks that are up, at least 1% in the last 2 minutes here. Let's come back to that search. You may want to know your stock is trading along with, or you may only want to be long if, the NASDAQ, the S&P, and or the Dow are up over a certain period of time. So you can, kind of link those in. Those that are participating in the market long enough know that many of the stocks during the day are kind of in lockstep more than less with the indexes and exchanges. So that's always something that we can want to consider. Pivot points, right? I don't know about momentum for pivot points necessarily, but it may be something that you're interested in. VWAP, distance from VWAP 1 here. That's, just the regular VWAP. VWAP 2 would be the distance if we anchored it from yesterday as the VWAP, day before yesterday, going back 3 days, going back 4 days. So you've got those anchored VWAPs in there if you want. These are actual VWAP prices. I don't think they're used in scanning too much, more as columns to know what the actual VWAP number is. Again, personal preferences for some of these things. We talked about gaps. Well, here's the change from close. Want to see a stock was up X amount or down X amount from the prior day's close. So, those are the big ones that I think that I'd point you towards. Last but not least that I think I'll go over as far as trying to get some momentum behind anything is Bollinger Bands and RSI. Have them in these different time frames. Now, I know a lot of people use Bollinger Bands for a revision to the mean. There are folks, including the creator of Bollinger Bands, who originally intended them to be a break of the top band as momentum upside, break of the lower band as momentum downside. But I will note that John Bollinger does use revision to the mean with them too. So don't kid yourself, regardless of what he, originally created and all that. So I think, in this scan here, we're trying to look for stuff that, again, it's moving up. Maybe we'll throw an RSI filter in here and we're going to throw a 60 on this. And we're just going to call this support momentum. And let's just see what came through it today. And so, we can see MASS has just come through it here. Been trending on the day here, we can see. Been trending on the daily chart overall. Pullbacks on there too. And so it looks like this thing's going to alert a good amount here. Here comes another one. Let's put out the history of it today. Let's just look at the history today. Now, we're not expecting every stock to be a gem from here, right? But let's just see how things look overall. And now I want to note this. A lot of stocks coming through this. We got that more available here, right? And on these windows can only hold 1,000 items. So at 10:45, going back to 10:45 a.m. Eastern, that's where our cutoff is for it right now. We can always right-click history and select more, and that'll go further back in history. we can go up to about 60 market days in history like that. Let's take a look at some things that I know are stocks and not just whatever. So, HSAI, yeah, not a bad alert, 2194 off of that. QBTS, not awesome. 1095. Not the worst, but not awesome either. RGTI. Some of these might have alerted earlier than they did too. And again, I want to note just, that while yes, it alerted here at, 98 and it made it all the way up here to 20. Let's not forget, look at these bottoming and topping and shadows. So, those play a role into my perception of the quality of the alert. LUNR. So, an alert here at 771 makes a decent run up over $8 before starting to pull back. So, we got some all right momentum stuff coming through here. Is it the greatest? I don't know. Is it terrible? I don't think it's terrible. CURR, not looking too shabby. Not terrible. Not great. I'd say so far more good than bad. We see a lot of the same stuff alerting over and over again. AIFF, not a bad alert there. 423, it's up over $5 now. APPS, 359. Barely got 10 cents on that. Not great. Could have alerted earlier. I'm not sure. We can run the history back further if we want. Just take a look at a couple more of these. All right, so this alert's here at 308, falls back down, gets back up, falls back down, gets back up, barely 10 cents in the money again. Go to GOTU. There's a decent alert off of that. So, all right, not bad. We could probably tighten some things up more if we wanted, but remember, by tightening things up, we'll likely get rid of some of the stocks we didn't want to see, but we could also get rid of stocks we do want to see too, right? So it's important to keep that in mind. It's a give and take when we start to add more filters or add more values to filters or tighten the value in those filters. For example, if all of a sudden we threw a 70 RSI on the 1 minute, we could lose some of the stuff that we got earlier, but we also may get rid of some of the stuff we don't want to see. We may lose some of the stuff that we like that came in earlier, but we may also get rid of some of the stuff we didn't like too. So that's that kind of trade-off right there that we talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and share this, and my suggestion is take it and make it your own, right? Go in and go over the different filters that we put in there, the values, and try to walk yourself through, why would we do this? What's a way to improve it? Let's test it and prove this way. Like anything, it becomes a process. No real way to track pairs trading in this. We have compared charts if you want, but not pairs trading. Also, yeah, Pepe was mentioned the room. Here, I could post a link to the room. Bear with me. So we have our traders room, and Barry runs that 9 a.m. Eastern to about 2:30, 3 o'clock Eastern daily. And so you could join in there. That he shares some of his scans in there. He doesn't just go over stuff like I'm doing here, like a Q&A. He's talking a lot more stocks and trading overall and things like that in the market. But if you have a question on the software, he's always going to help you with it. So it's another great resource for you to just spend some time in there with like-minded traders. I was also thinking the other day, or thinking earlier today, trading can be a very lonely endeavor. I guess for some people, they're fine with that. But if, you're looking for more social interaction with like-minded people discussing markets and stocks, it keeps it all market and stocks. They're not talking sports. They're not talking philosophy and whatever else is out there, history, whatever. It's stocks. It's about stocks. It's about markets, that stuff like that. Nobody's recommending buying and selling or holding anything like that. Just talking about ideas and scans and all that kind of stuff like that. And traders from Barry. So, whoops, I sent the guide, not the, pardon me, wrong link. User's guide's a good link too, but that wasn't what I meant to share. Here we go. This is the trader's room. So you can find the trader's room there. When I wrap up here in about 15 minutes, anybody that wants, I highly recommend heading over there. And again, as Pepe mentioned, Barry shares all of his stocks, shares all of his scans over there as well for you. So, all right, good session so far. I know, bring on the questions still. Folks have questions for me. Don't be shy. You got me for a few minutes here before I must part my way to some meetings. As I always say, I'd much rather answer your questions than just kind of randomly chat it up about whatever. There's not a whole lot that I can say about the market that you can't hear 1,000 other places. Can I explain position and range? Yeah, absolutely. So position range is simply like this. Take the time frame and you take the low to the high of it, right? So the low is 0. So if we have position range on the day, the low is 0, the high is 100. And then you've got everything else in between, essentially like that. So if we were to come into the configure of a scan, search, and let's go with position range. We've got all these different time frames on it. Get rid of that drawing, sorry. And this one here, without any other label on it, is for the day. And again, they're all done in percents. So if I add, let's say, that position range filter for the day, and I go to the show me function, I said, 100 in the minimum. It I only want to see stocks that are at the top of today. That's it. If it dips below today, I don't want to see it. Only want to see it if it's at the high of today. Vice versa, I could say a 0 here, and where it's below the low of this range, or it's at the low of this range, right? And so that's how we can do that there. They are among some of my favorite filters for scanning. I've used them in a lot of scans. I'm pretty simplistic in my scanning these days now, but position range has played a large role in what I do. And one of the reasons that it plays a large role is this. I don't want to see stuff in no man's land for the most part, right? Like, I don't want to see something that's just, it's right here flat in the middle of the day. I don't care about that. If it's nearing low, if it can find support, not bottom picking necessarily, but if it can find support, it's something I'm interested in. If it's, breaking towards the upside, it doesn't have to be breaking out to the upside, right? But it's breaking towards, or it doesn't have to be breaking out to the high of the day, but if it's breaking to the high of the day or the high of 20 days, 10 days, or whatever, the period is, I want to see it. That's when I want to see it. So for example, here, I've got this scan I call my evening scan here. And in the configure of this scan, I am looking at stocks that are 75% above the low of today's range and 75% above the low of 20-day range. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find some stocks that are looking strong into the close, not just today, but maybe now all of a sudden they're starting to make some momentum and headways over the last 20 days and try to ride that momentum in the next day or 2 or 3, so on and so forth. Obviously, what the overall market's doing plays a very heavy role in this kind of scanning, because you can get a lot of stuff that it finishes strong today, right, and just gives it right up in the morning, especially right now. And I think we've got a lot of evidence of that going on. For those that watch the swing picks video, that's not what I wanted. We had this day here on Friday. For the record, that was that Friday. It's just Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. There was that Friday that was up, this Friday that was up, and for good measure. So let's see. That Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, and a green day that Friday. 3 green Fridays in a row, right? And so, we got to consider that the buyers keep trying to step in on Fridays, and they've been punished so far. Right now, this does not look like a great candle for the bulls right now. And so this isn't the kind of market where you're just stepping in all of a sudden and trying to buy a strong close. As Brian Shannon would say, this market's guilty till proven innocent. And what did he mean by that? What do I mean by quoting him like that? It means we're in a downtrend, right? And we're in a downtrend till we're back in an uptrend. Now, what do you want to use to qualify it as an uptrend? Well, what's your time frame first? Brian likes to use a 5 SMA. And he doesn't buy things that are below a declining, below a declining 5 SMA. Brian's been doing this stuff forever and a day. So you'll never find me arguing anything that man has to say whatsoever. At least not in the market anyways. He very much knows his stuff, and he's a no nonsense kind of person when it comes to the market, right? But someone else might have some other, indicator that they're looking at that works for them. There's, other folks out there have been doing this as long as Brian that are very successful. They have their ways that work for them. And, some of them are public figures and some of them are not. So anyways, long story long, position and range. But these are the kind of things I think it's important to note. Friday, 3 green Fridays in a row. 2 of them are down, 1 is up for now. You are very welcome. Happy to help with that. And again, folks, don't be shy. Keep those questions coming if you have them. Look at some of these alerts that have come through since we looked here. So no, nothing to do in there. Not a whole lot doing there. Nothing. Well, yeah, $18 alert. Got itself moved up a little bit. So yeah, some stuff moving up on it. Whether you define it to be quality or not, that's up to you. Rockets. Just that we're talking about trending and declining moving averages and things like that. If you're new into the trading world and you're not looking at the trade wave indicator that we offer here on the charts, do yourself a favor, go over that a little bit. If those that aren't familiar with this, if you notice on my charts here, got these orange S tags and blue B tags. They stand for buys and sells. Now, not a recommendation, like just go out when it's an S and buy, and when it's a B, S and sell, and when it's a B, it's a buy, right? But what this is an EMA cloud crossover. And in order to get this, let's walk everybody through getting on the charts if they want. You got to right click, go to use browser interface, and make sure you got a check mark there. If you uncheck it, right, your chart's not going to look the same as what I got going on here. So make sure there's a check mark in there, right? And then you should have this FX in the top left corner. All right, if you click on that, you'll see trade wave. You go ahead and click on that, and it'll bring up, see this orange cloud. If we scroll out on this stock, you see how it's got some blue clouds in here, and it works on every time frame. So you can take any stock, put it up on the chart, and we can look. And the idea is, it's like a lot of indicators are identifying trends. That's what most indicators are for. And so look, this is, with this orange coming down like this, the orange means it's in a sell and the blue means it's in a buy. And it doesn't necessarily, again, mean buy or sell, but the orange means it's in a downtrend. And the blue means it's either starting or getting into an uptrend like that. And so that's how you do that. Yeah, net trade. Did you not pick up on that one before? I thought we covered it, but here. Open the layout on computer 1. Go to File, Save or Share to Cloud. Click Entire Layout. Name the layout here. Press Save and Share. All right. Take that URL and then load that into the other computer, the same way we showed how to load Windows before. So you just got to get this URL with the Trade Idea software open on that other computer, and it'll load your layout. So that's how you can transfer that over. So back, onto the trade wave here. Look, this thing's in a downtrend, right? And I know it's natural human behavior to want to buy things on sale. We buy the shoes on sale, the car on sale, the house on sale, right? The groceries on sale. You don't buy stocks on sale, right? Because look, you know, look, it's been on sale for an awfully long time now, right? You got this thing, it made this beautiful move. Well, I'll buy it. It's pulled back, and I'm going to buy it here. You bought it here, and you moved up, and you moved right back down. Well, you just passed break even right there. This thing has gone on to go way down again, right? And there's no way to predict which way it's going to go. So we want to identify trends and be in as early as we can and out as early as we can, right? So something like this here, we're in an uptrend. We break a level on that uptrend, maybe we want to participate, right? We get up to here, we got around here, we're up to here, we pull way back down, we're chopping around, it looks weak, maybe the trend is ready to change, maybe we want to make an exit, as this is going to be turning orange on us. Those are the kinds of things that we got. All right, perfect. Yeah, and I would recommend this too. On all, you can do each individual scan. You right click, save or share to cloud each individual scan and send them over that way. Actually, you don't even have to necessarily send yourself the cloud link. If you save something to your cloud, when you open up your cloud anywhere, so like, for example, I was just going to say, it's just going to load from your computer. Thanks, Pepe. I completely forgot about that. I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking if you're sharing it from one person to another, I guess is where my brain was going. If you just open up, once you save something to the cloud, if you go to a different computer, if you go file, load from cloud, it'll be in your cloud here. You only need to share the link if you're sharing it with someone else. But if it's your account, if your cloud is unique to you. So yeah, folks, this ain't an easy market. I'm not doing a whole lot right now. I'm sitting and waiting in cash for the most part. At some point, we'll get a turnaround and we'll move into an uptrend again. Is that some point next week? Is it later this week? Is it in 3 months from now? I have no idea. Going to be nimble and prepared and not press and rush. That's the long game in this. The long game of the long game. So these, an indicator like the trade wave, especially if you're still trying to figure things out, could be an indicator that helps you, getting that up there. One of the things I like to point out with the trade wave is this, as we narrow in, watch how, as this really, we're really start to accelerate down here. Look how wide the trade wave starts to get here. Look how wide that cloud gets. And as the acceleration comes to a screeching halt to the downside, look how much it tightens up real fast. And then as we slip back down again, we open back up again. And as we move back up again, right, it closes down and even comes into a short, quick buy before it lets back out again. And then we start to move sideways and it tightens back up again, right? So, it's indicating the momentum of the trend as well for you. So sometimes you may want to think about, all right, look how wide out that momentum has become right here. We're really at max momentum right now. Maybe I need to be taking some profits here. Those are the kind of things that I'm looking at. So, alrighty, folks, we are at the 1 o'clock hour. Anybody has any last minute questions here before I shut down for the day? I'll entertain those. If not, I'm going to prepare to walk myself out. I shared it before. Let me share it again. If you're not in the Traders Room with Barry, it's 100% free. I would highly, highly recommend being in that room with Barry. That's a link to that there that you can get to the room. He's there. Usually takes a break in between noon and 1. So, he could be just coming back from his break right now. But you're not going to find a better place to get a real education on a lot of this stuff than hanging out with Barry in that room. Yeah, Pepe's over there. a gentleman named Rio, another gentleman named William. Some really good traders over there, folks, that just you can watch and listen and observe, understand what they're doing with their risk management, because that is the number one thing that failed traders have is lack of risk management. So, all right, I'll call that a wrap for the day with no other questions coming in. You all have yourself a wonderful rest of the day. There is a good chance I'll see you again later in the week. And remember, trade a plan, right? Plan the trade, trade the plan. We'll talk to you soon, folks. Take care.